Hi, I'm Dan Schmitt. I do a weekly television show called Team Chicago Challenge. My website is teamchicago.tv, teamchicago.tv. We are in St. Louis. We are at maybe one of the best motorcycle museums, but there's many, many great motorcycle museums, but this one you should put on your bucket list. In this show, we're going to talk to Dave Larson. He's going to tell us about Dave Mungenast, and he's the guy that ran the ISDT back then. 6 days of grueling racing. He raced in the 70s, late 60s and into the 70s, different types of motorcycles. And I'm going to say in the next 10 or 12 minutes, we're going to try to capsulize this great motorcycle racer. And don't forget my website, teamchicago.tv.
This museum is split between two buildings right across the street from each other on Gravois Avenue. We are in the south building. We're going to look at this Triumph ISDT motorcycle that Dave Mungenast rode in 1973 in the ISDT held in the USA. Dave Larson is the curator of this museum and a longtime friend of Dave Mungenast, and he's going to tell us about his interesting career.
We're here in St. Louis at the Mungenast Automobile and Motorcycle Museum. The museum has two purposes. One, to say thank you to all of our customers for doing business with us for the last 50 years. And the second one is a tribute to Dave Mungenast, a fierce competitor, 9-time motorcycle rider for the ISDT, competed all over the world on 9 different brands of motorcycles. And here are a few of the special pictures we've collected of Dave, pictured here with Malcolm Smith, Leroy Winters.
So what year was this one?
1967.
All right, so we should point out before we go any further
Okay.
that to be on the ISDT team, you were chosen from the best off-road guys in America.
All right.
So to be chosen to be on the team was huge.
Yes.
So tell me who's in that picture there.
All right.
And what year was that?
This was the first year Dave competed. This is 1967 in Poland. And this is a picture of some very fast company in the off-road motorcycle world. Malcolm Smith, Dave Mungenast, Leroy Winters, Bud Eakins, John Penton, and John Greenrose.
So that's the John Penton with the Penton motorcycle.
That's it.
So it was the brands didn't make any difference. You could ride any brand, and there was different sizes in the team itself. So some people would be on the 125, some would be on a 250, some would be in the open class.
That's correct.
And what bike did he ride that year?
That was a 250cc.
Okay. And then what is this next picture here?
The next one is Dave competing on a Honda motorcycle, specially equipped by American Honda, and that was in 1972.
And this picture down here then?
Next one is on a Penton motorcycle. Dave rode Pentons in the ISDT 2 years. Here's a very good picture of the Penton ISDT team.
All right, so who's on the team there?
That's Dave, his son Jeff Penton, Leroy Winters, and John Penton.
Wow, okay, and what about this one down here, Midwest Motorcycling?
That's announcing Dave's being chosen for the ISDT the first time he rode it. That's 1967. This is a picture of him on the factory Rokon, which was, he was sponsored by Rokon for 2 years, and also sponsored by the Triumph Corporation in 1972 when the ISDT was held here in the United States.
So that'd be a Triumph over here.
That's correct.
So he's on a 500 twin?
500 twin, much heavier than the competition.
Right, and that was when they held it in the U.S.
Yes.
Before we go any further, and as we look at Dave's Rokon ISDT bike, let's look at a clip from the movie On Any Sunday as we see Malcolm Smith riding the ISDT in Spain in 1970.
El Escorial, Spain, near Madrid, the site of the International Six-Day Trials, the ultimate test of man and machine. The Six-Day Trials is the Olympic Games of motorcycle sport, held for the 45th year. 348 riders from 16 countries have gathered to compete, among them Malcolm Schmitt, here getting his bike inspected and marked prior to the first day. Each part of the motorcycle is marked with a special paint. In 6 days of riding, no parts can be changed without being disqualified. Even internal engine parts are marked and the engine is sealed. The only parts that can be changed are control cables, chains, tires, and tubes. At 6:45 in the morning, the first of the riders get underway. They leave 4 per minute. The colors on their helmets denote the rider's country. Germans in white, Spanish in yellow, Italians red, English green, Czechoslovakians in blue, the Swedes with yellow and blue. Malcolm number 242 would be starting on the 60th minute. Of all the events Malcolm rides, this is the only one he takes very seriously. There's no prize money involved. The top prize for an individual rider is a gold medal. Off goes Malcolm and 348 others through the countryside of Spain, the beginning of a grueling adventure. The concept of the event is quite simple: to ride about 200 miles per day for 6 straight days and keep on a prescribed time schedule. The trouble is, none but the best can keep up the time schedule, and these riders are the best in the world. It's an honor just to be selected to ride the 6 days. You go through a series of checkpoints each day. You can get there early, but you can't clock through until your prescribed minute. You lose 1 mark for each minute you're late to any checkpoint. In all, there are 65 time checks. If you're only 1 minute late to any one of these, you lose a mark. To win a gold medal, you can't lose a single mark in 6 days of riding. It's hard to appreciate the difficulty of the 6 days without being there. It's hard to realize just how long 6 days on a motorcycle really is. The best riders are usually the Europeans. Most are paid a salary year-round to ride. A gold medal at the 6-day trials sells a lot of motorcycles in Europe. Malcolm isn't paid. In fact, he pays all his own expenses just to go over there and compete. During the competition, the temperatures range from 80 degrees to 20 degrees. They went from 2,000 feet to over 8,000 feet, riding in the clouds in the mountains of Spain. Of the 1,200 miles the event covers, about 800 of it is trails like this that may last for 40 miles. On the foot peg maneuvering like 6 days on a bongo board. The speed average, 24 miles an hour, but very few can keep it up. All work in the machine must be done by the contestant himself with no outside help. The bikes are locked up except during the time you're riding against the clock. The only time to make repairs or adjustments is if you can get ahead of schedule and stop to do it. If you can't change a tire in 4 minutes, you're not competitive in the 6-day trials. The only tools you can use for anything are what you carry with you. If anyone hands you a tool or helps you in any way, you're disqualified. If you keep your bike together, change tires fast enough, keep on time, and lose no marks, you still haven't won a gold medal. You have to compete in a series of special tests at the end of each day's riding. One is this 200-meter acceleration test. Clock top speed at the end earns needed bonus points. Except there's a sound meter in that tent, and if you make too much noise going by, bonus points are subtracted instead of added. Another Another special test at the end of each day is a 5-mile timed cross-country loop, sort of a motocross against the clock. The fastest times earn the most bonus points. And to earn enough bonus points for a gold medal, you have to be in the top 30%. The motorcycles have mufflers and lights, which are under the number plate. And you can be stopped at any time and have your light checked. If it doesn't work, you have to stay there until you make it work. In the special test, Malcolm has to go fast, but not too fast. He's got to save the machine. He's got to save his body. There are more days to come. Day after day, Malcolm left in the morning chill from El Escorial, stiff and sore, but on time. Each day, he left to do battle with the clock and the elements of Spain. Mostly fatigue in his face, but on time. The 6 days, more than any event, tests a man's all-around ability, his riding, his endurance, mechanical skill, and his ability to think clearly when tremendously fatigued. If you do everything right, don't make one mistake in 6 days, you win this gold medal. Malcolm won one in Poland, he won one in Germany, and he won this one in El Escorial, Spain.
Thanks to Bruce Brown and the crew from On Any Sunday for creating that great movie with that great clip. And as we look at this Triumph poster with Dave Mungenast on the poster, Dave Larson's going to continue the story, starting with Dave Mungenast in Spain in 1970.
That's a second time on the Husqvarna. That's in Spain, 1970.
And then this one down here.
And then this is a Penton again, Italy, 1971.
So read off your sheet again, your cheat sheet on what years he competed in the ISDE.
Okay, Dave competed in 1967, Poland, Husqvarna. Got a gold medal.
Got a gold medal.
Gold medal.
Now, getting a gold medal is
You gotta be top
extreme.
dog.
You cannot, every time checked, you can't work on the bike's impounded, it's
Right.
6 days. So
Exactly.
getting a gold medal is like winning the Olympics.
You got
at
to be a
least.
perfect
Yes,
score.
perfect, right.
All right. 68, Dave was on a Penton, rode it in Italy, got a bronze medal. 69, Germany on a Penton again, a silver medal. 1970, Spain, Husqvarna, did not finish, had mechanical problems. 71, the Isle of Man on a Penton again, gold medal. 72, Czechoslovakia on a Honda. Honda had trouble, didn't finish.
And that was that special Honda that they,
Yeah. 73, we hosted United States, Triumph, silver medal. 1974, Italy on a Rocon, bronze medal. And 75, last year, was Rocon and didn't finish, had mechanical problems.
so to me, I mean, as someone that knows this stuff, I am blown away. This is very impressive. This is, I mean, like I told you, I am friends with Jeff
Yeah.
Fredette. Jeff Fredette has run many gold medals, maybe more gold
Yeah.
medals than any other American. Local guy out of Chicago area, great ice racer and all that. So I came down here, I had no knowledge of any of this, so I'm pretty impressed. That is
Well,
huge.
Dave was actually, Dave and the company that he's with, especially in this 67 poster, they were the true pioneers of the International 6-Day Trials event. Bud Eakins was the first, along with his buddy Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen ran
Right.
prior to that.
And it was more of a privateer effort, more so than...
Oh, right, there was no real American organization.
Exactly. Right.
and no financing.
That's exactly.
You had to finance it
Yeah,
yourself.
pretty much out of your own pocket.
And we should also point out, all those years, the Czechs, the Russians, the East Germans were cheating like hell.
They were
It was a
cheating.
military,
Yeah,
almost a military precision, that they would have people out in the woods, they'd be cheating at any chance they got.
well, and they were all professional riders.
Right, right.
Many of those
Were military
employed-
people.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's what they did for a living.
Right.
Kind of be nice for all of us to be
Right,
able to do
24/7, and
Yeah.
where the Americans all were work. I mean, Dave was running a motorcycle
Sure.
shop.
that. And that's the other thing about how great a man Dave Mungenast was. All of these accomplishments were made still by running his businesses every day.
Right, right.
And believe me,
And he
was
had the
there-
car dealership
Yeah,
and the motorcycle,
And the motorcycle.
separate buildings,
right. Yeah.
Wow.
So he,
and all the different brands he had to deal with. So he had to be knocking people on the head just making deals to get motorcycles sometimes.
absolutely.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And raising a family.
Oh yeah. 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 Right.
Okay, well, let's take a look at these motorcycles that he rode.
All right. Dave's 1973, 73 Triumph TR5T Trophy.
Which is a 500 twin-cylinder
500
engine,
Yep.
single carb on these.
Single carb.
Okay.
Um,
But basically a production bike
Yep.
that you could have bought back then.
right.
It was the bike that competed with like the BSA
Yep.
Victor and then the VSA 500
Exactly.
single, right,
Yeah.
in the marketplace.
But you have to figure in 73, there were a whole lot of motorcycles that were a lot lighter, really a lot more competitive on paper when you read the
Oh,
specs.
completely.
Yeah.
Many, many advantages over this. This is probably 70 pounds heavier than anything else in his
Yeah.
class.
But Triumph put together a wonderful team of experienced enduro riders, experienced ISDT riders, and just like this poster says, Triumph wins top awards in ISD qualifiers. The bike was extremely dependable. The riders were extremely superior, so they had a good combination. And Dave, as I mentioned before, ended up with a silver medal on this one.
And you said Triumph owned this bike, so he didn't own the bike, and you guys had to chase down to get the
Yeah,
original
yeah,
bike?
As time goes by, you try and figure out what happened to it, how the race bikes were in turn sold, and then you try and track down the guy that had it last.
So he put this together to be just like when he raced it.
Yep, right.
All right, so let's talk about this Rokon.
Okay, sponsored by Rokon for 2 years in a
Okay,
row.
let's explain what a Rokon is.
Okay.
See if you can explain the transmission on these.
I will.
Okay.
Okay, Rokon is kind of a unique motorcycle. It features a Sachs engine,
A 340 cubic
340 cubic inch Sachs engine.
cubic cc.
CC.
Right.
With a pull starter on it, which sometimes when your hand is full of mud and wet, becomes quite a challenge to get that going. The unique feature is that the primary drive on this is belt drive, which is from
The
their-
same setup as a snowmobile.
Right.
Right.
And then
Chain drive to the
chain
back.
drive to the
But a
rear-
multiple, they would call it a multiple shift because it would constantly be shifting as
Yeah.
meeting the engine speed and the demand.
The torque converter would actually change ratios under power. So,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah. So it had a lot of unique designs.
And
to
maybe
it.
an advantage, sort of, in the woods, but no braking, engine braking with this.
Yeah.
You were freewheeling, so you had to learn how to use brakes to slow the
Yeah.
thing down.
The team motto was no gears to strip and no clutch to slip.
So what years did he race this one?
That was 74 and 75.
And how did he do those
Uh,
years?
One bronze and one did not
Did not finish,
Yeah.
okay. Now what about these pictures here?
These,
One.
when Dave finished up his motorcycle racing career, he became a Hollywood stuntman. Talk about
So he
a
would
busy
leave
guy.
the dealership,
Right.
go to California or wherever they needed him, and he got paid to fall off motorcycles.
That's correct. That's our Sunday Post.
So what's the
Dispatch.
movie? So he was in Cannonball Run, Hopper, Airport 77,
Yep,
The End, Harry and Son, Welcome to Paradise, and Stormin' Home.
correct. That's him.
Stuntman of the Year for his work in the film Welcome to Paradise. Really? Nominated for an award?
Yeah, they had 3 riders in a pier in New Zealand. And the story was that they were jewel thieves and they made their getaway on the motorcycles. They all left simultaneously on this pier. Very, very dangerous stunt. And then the story was that they were going to get picked up by an offshore boat
Right.
after they jumped into the ocean. Successful jump. That was Dave's last jump. He said, I lived through that one. I'm not going to push it anymore.
So what's this picture here with the hard hats?
This is a Harry and Son with Paul Newman. Dave was a construction worker in that. And
Riding.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And then this one here is
This
with
is
the,
Hooper with Burt Reynolds.
and he's playing a cop?
Yeah, and that was actually one of his biggest speaking parts. He was giving Burt Reynolds a ticket, and they put a cable around his waist and jerked him off of the motorcycle that he was riding at
Right.
speed.
Wow. What a career. So what is this big one here?
That's just one of our early advertisements that Dave's pictured on the patent. I believe that's in Spain. And
That is wonderful.
yeah.
What is this? 64 won the big 24-hour marathon.
That's it. This is when Dave was managing a store very close to here for a fellow by the name of Bob Schultz.
So this is before he had his own shop. Oh, in
That's correct.
64, right.
Right.
And what's he on, a Honda?
Honda 250 Scrambler.
250
and that's the
Scrambler.
replica of that motorcycle right
Oh,
there.
okay, we'll look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
On a half-mile dirt track, actually TT track.
Right.
You'd
And you went
begin
for 24 hours.
single rider. You'd start at 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, and a
go at-
rider. rider.
Yeah, no
You could-
switching.
No switching riders. So
You
the
got
bike had a
5
laugh.
Got 5 minutes every 2 hours. Every 2 hours you get to come in.
To get a drink of water.
Right.
Thank you, Dave, for the wonderful conversation. And for more information on the Mungenast Motorcycle Museum, go to ClassicMotorcyclesLLC.com. ClassicMotorcyclesLLC.com. For more information on the movie On Any Sunday, Bruce Brown, go to their website, www.onanysundayfilm.com. If you want to get a hold of me, it's teamdan45@gmail.com. Don't forget teamchicago.tv, walkwithdan.com. I hope you enjoyed our adventure in St. Louis.